Hey, welcome to How to Fix It Workshop. My name is Josh, and in this video I'm walking around my house and taking care of some of the little annoying issues with my doors, mainly on my hinges and my door knobs. Hopefully some of these tips can help you out, and if I miss anything, please leave a comment down below, and thanks for watching. Okay, here's another common issue with doors. Loose doorknobs. I see this one more often than I really think I should. This is a pretty simple fix. There's usually just a couple screws on the back side here. And you just take your Phillips screwdriver. Normally these are Phillips screws. You take a few seconds to tighten that up. Yeah, that was very loose. There's one side and here's the other. How long did that take us? That's a question for you, Lori.
Oh, sorry. Like 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Easy. Nice and tight. Good as new.
Done.
This is maybe an obscure tip, but as I walk around my house looking at my hinges and doorknobs and strike plates and things like that, just making sure everything is set up and functioning properly, I noticed with this door, this is a little entryway coat closet, that two of the hinges are actually installed upside down. You can see the pin here is on the bottom, on the top one. The one in the middle, the pin is on the top where it should be. And then down here on the bottom, the pin is upside down as well. That's a pretty quick and easy fix. I'm going to tap those out from the top and then place them in correctly. Not incorrectly, but place them in correctly. Yeah. Now I made a mess of my door. I'm sure it's highly unlikely that that pin's going to actually fall out over time, but there's a possibility, so may as well fix it while we're here. There goes my doorbell. Kinds of nasty black dust coming out of there. All right, that's better. Now I just need to clean up my mess and move on to the next one. This next issue here, if I'm being honest, could probably get me into some hot water. You see, this is on our guest bathroom, and the problem here is that the door doesn't really close completely. There's a big gap, especially near the top, that if you're walking by at kind of the right time and right angle, you can kind of see through that crack, and well, there's a lack of privacy there. So what we want to do is close that gap. First thing I'm going to do here is try to adjust this catch that's on the strike plate, and to do that I'm just going to use a screwdriver, and we go inside there and grab that little piece there and just kind of pull it back some. So it was pushed all the way in. I just want to pull it back just a little bit. Let's see how that does. Not much improvement there. We still have a huge gap at the top and a lot of play in the door here. So the next thing I'm going to do is take a look at my hinges. One thing that I noticed from the inside of the bathroom whenever the door is closed is that the top part of the door is very tight against the door frame. If we look towards the top of the casing here, we can actually see where paint is being removed from the top of the door and the casing. So that's kind of a sign that there's some rubbing going on there. And I suspect that some of these screws in this hinge are over tightened, and maybe they weren't when the door was installed, or the hinges were installed, but due to some settling or whatever may be going on with the house, this hinge could stand to be maybe loosened just a little bit, which is contradictory to what you would normally do. You would want to make sure your hinges are good and tight, but I'm just going to back off these screws just a little bit here and see if that improves our problem. Okay, so here's the thing with this one. After screwing around with the hinges for a while and tweaking the strike plate some more, we got it better. It's still not perfect. I think there's issues with the door jamb and possibly the door, but there's no gap there now. It's still a slight gap at the top, a whole lot less at the bottom, but the good news is you can't see in from the outside, which is really what we were trying to improve here. So sometimes it takes a little experimentation, just messing with that strike plate as well as the hinges, and we were able to open up the gap on the top just slightly, but I can't quite get it perfect. There's some other things that I could probably do, like moving the strike plate in towards the door jamb a little bit further to reduce the space for that catch, but I think this is good enough for now. Let's move on to the next one. This door here is to my home office, and the issue that it has really drives me nuts. It will just kind of slowly over time open up, or I guess close. And I will push it all the way back towards the door, and then it will just slowly make its way towards closed. It doesn't go too far, but there has been times when I've tried to get up quickly and make my way out, and it's like if I'm not paying attention, I could run right into the side of the door here. This one is a pretty easy fix, at least I think it is, and I've used this method in the past. It's just removing one of the pins, putting a little bit of a bend into it, and then it's just enough friction that it keeps that door in place. I don't know exactly what's causing it to want to close on its own. It's probably not completely plumb and square in the frame and the way the door is hung, but it's also probably due to some of the air movement that's in the room, or me walking in and out, or maybe a ceiling fan being on that's causing it to start to close. But I'm hoping that this will be a simple fix, and let's give it a try. With a screwdriver and a hammer, I'm going to pop the pin out of the middle hinge here, just underneath here, and just give it a few taps. Got it started there, and I can just kind of finish it like this. It should be loose enough to just pull right out. There it is. And you can see that hopefully you can see that it's pretty straight and oily. I'm gonna go outside, it's a beautiful day, and give it a little tap just to put a little bit of a bend in it, just enough friction so that the door will hopefully stay put whenever it's against the wall. Okay, now with that little bit of a bend in the hinge pin, we'll just put it back in place. Let it slide down, tap it in with a hammer. Let's see how it does. It feels like it's going to stay in place there. Looks like this might have solved our problem. There's no additional movement there. Once I push the door against the wall, it doesn't look like it's wanting to move. So fix that problem pretty easily. On to the next one. Next on my list is my front door. So this is the handle to get inside our house, and the problem that we're having here is that this thumb press is kind of sticky, so it doesn't even really pull that pull that in all the way just with a press. So sometimes people have a hard time getting in the front door when it's closed. We've kind of learned that you have to kind of like push real hard, pull towards the door, and then push in. So there's like a whole thing going on there. So what I'm going to try to do is open this up and see if I can get anything to shake loose inside there. In order to get to my handle here and be able to remove anything, I had to take off this little metal plate here and then find a Allen key, little Allen wrench to get this little tiny screw, which will loosen this handle here and allow me to get behind that plate. It was a pain in the butt to find one of these little Allen keys. This is probably the one that came with my doorknob here many years ago, and I had to dig through a whole bunch of stuff in order to find this. I think this is the right size. Yeah, there we go. So that tightened it. Okay, we go the other way. See if we can loosen. Somehow this is supposed to just, there we go. It slid off, and then the plate. Now I can access my screws. I ended up taking this whole thing apart, removing it from the door, and I actually removed this piece here as well as everything behind it. I don't see any kind of damage or anything. It doesn't appear to be worn out, but I think it's just kind of a design flaw. I mean, here's the thumb press. You press it down like 50% of the way, and this doesn't even move, and it's not until you get to that like halfway point, and you really got to press on it to get it to go down, and it doesn't even go all the way in. So you can kind of see that from behind here, in that spot right here where it's spinning. It like spins a little bit, but then I mean nothing happens. You can see this mechanism going up and down, but it's not twisting it yet until you get a little further down. Then it starts to pull that in, but again, it's not even really pulling it in all the way. It has the room to travel, but it's just not pulling it in. So I'm going to go ahead and put some grease on it. I got this multi-duty complex high temp grease, extreme pressure. I don't know that this calls for that, but it looks like there was some grease in here, so I'm just going to put some more in there and we'll see if we can loosen things up a little bit. Just taking a Q-tip and I don't know, trying to find a spot where I can just get anything on the inside just to help things move around a little bit. Things are looking a little bit better, so I put grease in there everywhere that I could possibly squeeze it. Even put some around here, and it's pulling in a little bit better than it was. It's still not pulling in all the way, and it still has that sloppiness when you do about 50% of the push. Not seeing anything happen here until you really mash on it. We'll put it all back together and see how it works. I have everything put back together on this one, and it does look a little bit better. It's a little smoother since I kind of cleaned it up a little bit and put that grease in there, but it still doesn't go all the way inside the door. You can see it's sticking out just a little bit right there at full press. Let's close it once. And there's enough clearance there from the strike plate that shouldn't interfere. Hopefully it'll be easier to open from the outside. Let's go take a look. It seems easier. We'll see if anybody else has any problems. Let's move on to the next one. Storm door closing. This next one is kind of minor. This is my man door to my garage, and I have kind of a sticky locking mechanism on the doorknob here. You can kind of hear a little grinding there, and it's kind of tough to turn it. A lot of times we don't even lock it because it's kind of a pain to turn this, and you can kind of see it's crooked there. So I'm going to take this side of the doorknob off and see if I can maybe make some adjustments to the pins that are in here, and if nothing else, I've got some WD-40 here that I can spray in there and help lubricate things a little bit. With the doorknob apart and off the door here, I think I may have discovered my problem with this one. So this little piece here feeds into this side of the doorknob, and it's what turns, so this little lever here for the lock is what turns this on the inside, and then it twists to lock inside here. And this piece looks like it's twisted, kind of mangled up. I think it's supposed to be just straight across. So I'm gonna take my pliers here and just see if I can kind of twist that and straighten it up. There we go. Looks straighter. And if I put this back together, oops. Hopefully my locking knob will be more horizontal and vertical. And it does seem to be working a little bit better. You can see that moving on the inside in here. Hopefully. But while I have it apart, go ahead and get a little, while we have it apart, let's go ahead and get a little WD-40 in there. Oh wow, huge difference, super smooth. I want to mention as I'm putting this knob back together that I have this extra protection on this door here. This is from Armor Protection, I believe it was. I did a video on this, installing this a couple of years ago. And since this is an exterior door and it's to my garage and it's kind of an area that I'm not looking at daily, there's just an extra layer of security. It's supposed to be able to prevent any kind of kick-ins or break-ins or anything like that. I'll leave a link to that below. There's some videos on their website about how people can kick in doors very easily because the screws that hold hinges and door hardware in place are so short. But these screws here are like 3 or 4 inches long. All right, that's actually a really huge improvement. That locking mechanism is super smooth now, and there's no more binding or grinding. And it looks like it's pretty much vertical there when it's locked and horizontal when it's unlocked. I don't really know what is the true way for things to be locked and unlocked. I guess with a deadbolt, typically horizontal means locked. For some reason, this knob, maybe I should have adjusted it when I put it back in there and made sure that it was going in the same direction. What do you think? Should it be horizontal when it's locked and vertical when it's unlocked? Leave a comment down below. Here's another kind of strange situation. So I'm in the door in my basement. This door goes to one of our storage areas. And the hinges here, the pins are, for whatever reason, kind of popped up. That one, and then this top one is really popped up. So, not a major issue, just kind of a minor thing. But as you notice that, come through with a hammer and just tap those down. That one's fixed. On to the next one. This one might be the most frustrating to us, and it might turn out to be the most challenging to fix. We'll see. This is a door to our bathroom, and this one is frustrating because when you close the door, it seems like it's closed all the way, but then it's not closed at all. And that might not be too big of an issue if you're in here by yourself and you're not expecting anybody to walk in. But this is actually a Jack and Jill bathroom, and the door on the other side, if you were to lock it and think that you locked this door, there's like airflow issues and things like that. So sometimes if you close one door or close a door somewhere else, there's like airflow kind of things that go on in here, and then this door just pop open like that. So anyway, we're gonna take a look at this one. We can see that a lot of things here are loose, and I may end up having to make some major adjustments to this strike plate. A couple things to notice. Originally, the door handle itself is loose. It's moving up and down, so the screws on this side that hold it together need to be tightened. But then also on this side, we can see that this screw is moving in and out. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten those up first and see if that does anything at all. Okay, that's good and tight. Let's see if the door closes any better. Nope. All right, let's take a look on the other side. It seems like, or appears like, what's going on here is that when this catch is sliding into the strike plate, it's really low. You can see there's very little down here. I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit there. Very little down here. There's a lot of strike plate up here. So when it's going into that strike plate, the hole is up here. It's higher. So it's never, the catch is never going into the hole. That's why it's able to just pop back open. It never goes inside there. So I can either try to adjust this strike plate, which would involve unscrewing those screws, cutting out, mortising out this door jamb a little bit and moving it down like a half an inch or so, which would be kind of ugly and leave, you know, some of this area here on the door jamb bare, and I have to paint it, touch it up, fill in that hole, all that kind of thing. The other thing that I could try to do is make some tweaks to the hinges, like I did on the other door for the bathroom, and see if I can get that catch to get closer into where it'll fall into that hole. Before I get too carried away with making adjustments to the rest of the hardware, I did notice that inside this strike plate here, we do have some of the door jamb there that might be interfering with the catch. And it looks like right there, that little dark spot might be where the catch is landing. So if I can kind of chisel some of this out, I'm not gonna really have to make any other adjustments at this time, and we'll see if the door can catch. I'm just gonna use my same screwdriver here and hammer and just try to chisel that out. All right, that was kind of ugly, but it worked. Let's see what happens. Hey, look at that. Oh, nope. It's so close. Oh, that must not be a problem. See, I need to come up just a little bit. You can hear it pop. Now it's secure. Okay, I'll try one more thing. When we look at the back side and towards this bottom hinge, we notice that the bottom of the door is really rubbing on the casing here. And this is maybe a trick I should have tried on the other bathroom upstairs, but what I'm gonna do is, on this hinge, since it looks like it must be pulling in that way, and all we need is just like a little bit to get the door to go up on the other end high enough for it to latch. I just grabbed a piece of cardboard, cut it off of a yogurt box, it looks like, and I'm just gonna fold it up and use it as a shim and put it in behind this hinge here and see if that fixes our problem. Just gonna loosen these up a little bit. That hinge is loose. I'm gonna stick this on the back side. All right, there we go. Shim is in place. We can just tighten down this hinge. Make sure it lines up. Okay. Let's try to latch this door again. Yes. All right. That one worked well. Now I can just go back there and cut off that that little bit of shim that's hanging there and clean it up, and nobody will know it's there.